Hey everybody, welcome back to Mary Bird's Backyard Garden. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mary.
We are back again, folks.
Here we are.
Back in the garden.
We're back.
Back in the
going good.
Hey, it's been rainy. Got to talk weather.
Oh, man.
Rainy.
Isn't it glorious?
Crazy rain.
It was crazy rain.
We had 2 straight days. And so if any of you guys are in Central Texas, you know that we've had 2 straight days of intense rain. Hail. We had some hail.
Tiny little hail, but I did hear other spots got a pretty good,
some big
much
hail.
size larger hail
we
than
had
we did.
An enormous amount of rain.
Yes.
And the yard is still wet, even today, and it didn't even rain today.
I know.
That's crazy.
I'm thrilled.
I know.
I didn't know
green.
the yard was still wet.
It's
it
still
doesn't look wet.
It's still wet, Mary.
It's still wet.
I was
okay.
out there. It's wet.
All right. I hope it's just soaking in.
It is soaking in. It was a lot of rain. That was our weather.
I did hear just not in depth, but just lightly. I heard 2 inches, maybe.
It may have been. It rained a ton.
Mm-hmm. It did.
I mean, we had a nice full amount of rain. We're not going to need the water here for a day or two.
We
I think
are loving
I think
it.
we're going to be okay.
We're loving it.
And that's the
man.
weather from Mary Bird's Backyard Garden.
It looks gorgeous out and about around our area.
It does look nice and green. So, with that in mind, Mary, what's new in the garden?
Well, what's new in the garden was the rain.
The rain, I know.
It really rained.
Well,
We didn't really get out in the garden too much this week. We were pretty packed with
stuff.
other things
Yeah.
that happened in our lives.
Yep.
And also, we lost our internet connection there for a while.
Ooh, folks,
And
that's a tough one.
That's a tough one, right?
That was, we were joking that we were back to the dark ages. No,
The Neanderthals. That's what my daughter said.
it was, I know, we're so used to it. We're so dependent on the internet. And it's just crazy when you don't have it. One day was, all right. But 2 days was not good. We had to
It
get
was
it back.
very pleasant, actually. We did get a lot of smaller things done,
We
but
did.
we were trapped inside because of the rain.
We were.
And the dogs couldn't really run like crazy outside, which they were pretty hyper during the day. and they led us on a merry chase. And those silly dogs got a pillow off of one of our chairs. And there was just feathers.
I've never seen that many feathers.
Everywhere.
The pillow wasn't even that big.
The pillow was not
And
big.
there was, I can't even tell you how many feathers there were. It was an enormous amount out of one pillow.
Packed the vacuum cleaner like 3 times. It was so crazy.
You can't even get mad at them. It's so cute.
No.
They were cute. And
yes.
we walked in. I was like, oh boy, look at that.
It was the big thunder.
I think they had a good time. I think they had fun with
they
it.
loved it.
Yeah.
The first time they've ever done anything like that.
It is. We've had them 6.5 years. That is the first time they've ever done that.
But
that'll show us.
The thunder and lightning were very close by and very loud. So anyway, so the rain was the big topic of the week.
It was.
And the other topic is we got to go on a weekly trip to the Natural Gardener.
We did.
That is like my wonderful place to go. I love it.
It's your
I
happy
love it
place.
so much.
Mary's
it is
happy
my
place.
happy place.
Yes. It was
we
fun.
wandered around and looked at everything, took our time. We tried to talk to some of the representatives there about the cocklebur plant.
We did.
And we got mixed opinions back.
Well, it's interesting because they had some that were growing that we were like, wait, hey, that looks exactly like we think the cocklebur. And when we did do the iNaturalist, it came up cocklebur, could be a sunflower.
Mm-hmm.
They were, honestly, they weren't that sure either.
No.
It kind of, one of them it looked like ours.
The stems were the light green with the vertical red dashes in it. And that caused Jeff and I to stand back and say, hey, hold on here a minute. What's going on?
But they think it's a sunflower, but I still think it's the cocklebur plant.
Well, our dogs are still bringing those things in.
They are. So I think we're still gonna go eradication on
I
this.
think we are too, when it's not too soupy.
I know it's soupy, but we won't wait for it to get too hard because then they're still easier to pull out when it's a little bit wet. So we'll get that. Yeah, we did that. I know. We just enjoyed the garden this week.
Oh, we enjoyed. Well, while we were at the Natural Gardener, we found quite a few of the herbs that you talked about last week. We picked up lemongrass, sage. We got 2 sages, but they didn't have pineapple sage. Can you remember some of the others? We did get an anise hyssop.
You did get that one, yes.
That smells so good. Wow.
Yeah, we picked up a few of those that we had talked about that they had, and we're gonna we'll put those in.
Yep, we're gonna give them a
See
try.
how they work. Got some tomatoes. Got some peppers.
Now, I did not get the tomatoes and peppers.
Tomatoes. I got the pepper.
I was so surprised.
I know. I figured, what the heck? Give it a shot. Can't hurt.
Can't hurt. And you're also going to try a Black-Eyed Susan.
Black-Eyed Susan.
That came up in what I was researching a little bit today, so that was kind of exciting.
Nice. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll get out there and get them in the ground and plant them. Take a look at them. Hopefully I get some tomatoes out of them. Not a tomato eater, but I'm happy to grow them.
Well, you put them on sandwiches and pizza.
Yeah, that's true. I do. I just won't eat them by themselves.
Nope.
Okay. Well, with that in mind, Mary, what do you got for us today? What's our topic of the day?
Oh, how exciting. I have made in the past couple of years a good friend in the garden, a trustworthy, dependable, easygoing, easy care friend that I'm crazy about. And it is called the Red Yucca.
Oh, okay.
So one of our neighbors was putting it out on the curb to let go of the plant. And I asked if I could have it. And they said, yeah, go ahead. And so it's been in the ground 3 to 4 years now. And it is beautiful. I have to say that I look forward to seeing it bloom every year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I would talk about it a little bit today and do a bit of a deep dive.
I think you should.
There's not as much information out there about it as I have found about other plants, but everybody highly recommends it. So I think you should give it a look. Yeah,
I think it's good. And I have to tell a quick story. So we go out there and we look at it, and it does look really pretty. And every time Mary says, they gave it, do you think that they're still okay with it? They gave it to us. I say, yeah, I think they are. They weren't going to grow it. I think it's because you brought it back to life so nicely and grew it so well. Obviously they're very nice people. They don't care, but I just think you're funny because
I worry because it's beginning to get quite large.
I know. And Mary's like, well, what if they? I think they're good. Anyway, I had to do a sidetrack on you on that one.
Well, the thing of it is that our house faces east on the front side of it, and I have it planted in a flower bed that's fairly close to the house, maybe 10 feet wide. And so the aloe's growing towards the front border by the walkway. I'm sorry, not the aloe, the yucca, the false red yucca. And so it probably gets sunshine until 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I think so, yeah, before it goes over the house, yeah.
But it's just blooming. It looks gorgeous. That's probably not the perfect spot for it, as we're going to discuss. But it seems to be very happy where it is.
I think it's a happy plant. It's grown.
Looks pretty happy.
Yeah, it's got the. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to ruin your story, but it's got some pretty cool stuff going.
Well, I'm going to tell you that the scientific name for this plant is a Hesperaloe parviflora.
Okay.
And that means that it's a western aloe with multiple blooms. And that's true. This plant is a real good grower in the western part of the United States. It's a native plant to the southwest and to the upper parts of Mexico, I believe. But it's so interesting. I wonder if you can guess from the botanical name that this plant is actually not a yucca at all.
It's an aloe. Is it an aloe? I don't know.
It is an aloe.
Okay.
It is in the same family as the century plant, the aloes, and the agaves.
Okay.
But it does have a different shape from most of those plants, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a surprise to me. It's very easy to grow. I mean, this is one plant that if you have an area that you want to have a nice display of blooms from like late March till through July, that's a very long bloom season. And you don't have time to take care of this little patch of ground, this could be a very good plant for you to look at. They're hardy all the way up to, zone 6, most places listed, but a few places said all the way up into zone 5. And that's pretty cold. And so all the way, it says to zone 9 as the heat source, but there are a lot of them that grow even further south than here. So, so you plant this plant and you want to nurture it when it's young. But after this plant gets established, you don't ever have to water it again.
Wow.
It's very drought tolerant. You don't have to fertilize it. You can plant it on almost any kind of soil, even if it's very poor soil. The red yucca does quite well. And it didn't used to be very easy to find, but over the years, people have begun to develop the varieties in this plant. And today you could get lots of sizes, different colors even. So ours is your regular red yucca. And so it has a corally red sort of bloom. And what happens is the leaves form at the base, sort of a rosette type thing at the base, and the leaves are thin and they are they're thin, but they're a tough leaf. They're not very fragile, and they come out in an arching pattern, and the clump will just continue to enlarge as the years go by. And on the edges of the leaf, which is the margins of the leaf, they have these like pale thread-like peel-aways from the margin. So it almost looks like it has a grass-like appearance in the middle of it as well. And maybe that's an adaptive quality. I don't know. But the leaves are not soft. They're a nice kind of a blue-green color. But the thing is, if you love a nice aloe or you want to grow a yucca, but those things in your yard might be kind of dangerous for people to run into, you might be able to look at the red yucca because the leaves, while they are tough and you don't want to grab hold of them and pull your hand away, they're not pokey the same way as a...
Yeah, they don't have the little sticky...
They don't,
sticky thing
no.
Yeah.
You could actually walk by them fairly easily. Anyways, the base of the plant can get really large, if you just keep letting it grow and grow. You can dig them up in the springtime and divide them and grow more in your yard. The leaf structure of the plant can grow over time to be about 3 feet tall, but the flower spikes can get upwards of 6 feet tall, depending on your variety. And when the flower stalk shoots up, the flowers begin to form at the base, and then they work their way all the way up to the tip as they continue to flower. And oh my goodness, this is the best part about this plant. It is a hummingbird calling card. It is. The flowers on the red yucca are tubular in shape with a very tiny hint of yellow in the center of the flower. And in March, especially as they begin to bloom, the hummingbirds are traveling, and it is, a ready food source for them all the way till, well, some of the sources said all through the summer.
That'd be nice.
And most of the sources said till July.
Well, our little shoots are pretty big right now.
They're taller than I am.
Yeah, they've definitely gotten tall quickly.
Yes, that is another thing. It's a surprise.
Yeah.
1 minute when you're not looking, right? You turn around and, hey, where'd that come from? But the nice thing in our little garden area, we have the Anacacha orchid tree. Very early. It's one of the very first trees to bloom or plants to bloom in our area. So it blooms with a white flower. And this year we had a beautiful display. So that is fading out now, but we have the Red Yucca that is coming up and kind of taking over interest.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
So the, like I said, it's a super low water plant. If you have a yard that you want to grow it in, but you have, let's say you're in Blackland Prairie, and you just want to give this plant a try. Build your bed up off the ground, make it be very well draining, and you give it a try. That might work. It doesn't really like to have a hot, it doesn't like to have a wet situation, but it does like the heat.
It does like the heat.
Yeah. So, and a sunny location. So ours is probably growing in less sun than is optimal.
It's doing good, though.
We might get more blooms.
Yeah.
And our neighborhood, they have used this in landscaping and mass plantings, and it is striking.
Yeah, they have.
Very, very beautiful.
And they get really tall. It's crazy how those shoots get really tall. Ours is pretty big, but some in the neighborhood I've seen are way up there.
Really big, right?
Yeah.
And you can buy, let's say you don't really have a space for that, or you want to grow it closer to a sidewalk. There are varieties that are shorter and that the central rosette will not expand too large. You might look into those. And there is a yellow variety also that we see growing at one of our local grocery stores. But you also might be hearing this plant called the hummingbird yucca because it's so important for the hummingbirds, a coral yucca because of the color. But the most appropriate name for this one is called the false yucca.
Okay.
Because it's not a yucca.
Because it's a false yucca.
Yeah. It's recommended to plant it in groups of 5 or more so you could get a real showy bloom period. And it is an evergreen plant. So this is one of the plants that's going to offer you structure in the garden over the winter time. And if it grows up in zone 5 or 6, it might see snow, and that would be quite lovely, right?
That is cool.
Yeah. And it shouldn't hurt it. From what I could tell, they say it might be really good for that. So this is what I am interested in. I don't like a bare garden. I do like a full garden, lots to look at, I guess in my heart, I'm more like a cottage garden person. And so I was just playing around online and looking what they suggest that would do very nicely with the red yucca. And interestingly enough, I saw references that said it was a very good container plant.
Oh,
and
wow.
that would be pretty.
That's interesting. Yeah.
You could bring it out when it is showy and then tuck it away. Yep. Well, anyways, they were saying you really want to look for plants that have the same water needs and the same sunlight needs. So sunny and low water. And in our area, we have a spot in our garden where we do have a Texas sage growing right now. It's got gray foliage with purple blooms on it. Also, it's called Cenizo. I think we did a podcast about that last year. And it's beautiful because when it gets ready to rain, it just flushes out in purple blossoms. It's like a little barometer. I just think that's
cool.
Great.
Yeah.
But that's a really good plant to have in the background with your red yucca. They also said your ornamental grasses. So any of your muley grasses would look very natural and would be a really good backdrop with this.
Yeah, I can see that. I actually can see that. That would look nice.
That would look pretty, right?
Yeah, that would look good.
There's a plant that is Gaillardia, and that's how you would find it in the stores, in the garden centers. We used to call it blanket flower as well. That's a very tough drought-tolerant plant that blooms in sort of a daisy-like form, and is very striking. That would be pretty. Rosemary would be a terrific companion. And the black-eyed Susans that you got.
Hey, look at that.
They recommended that as a very good...
I knew that. No, I didn't.
Plant. So we have a plant in the front of our garden that blooms in a purple cascade every fall called a fall aster. And that was highly recommended to complement the red yucca, as well as coneflower, which is also echinacea. And then a little plant that I'm not really familiar with called the ox-eye daisy. I might have to look that one up. So that is my plant of the week.
I like it. I'm starting to like these yuccas.
I like the yucca.
I probably was never a yucca guy before, but I'm kind of liking yuccas.
We have the agave
I'm
that
kind
we
of
talked
liking
about
that. Yeah, I'm
last
trying
year.
to like all this stuff now.
And we have the color guard yucca that has done so well.
That's done
for
really
us.
good, yeah.
A lot of pretty things to get out there.
I'm turning on you.
Oh, it sounds like we could have another trip to the garden center.
Okay. Yes, that sounds like exactly what we should do next.
Isn't that what you were talking about?
That is exactly what I was talking about. Oh, nice. That's cool. It's a really beautiful plant. I like it.
It is, right? Yeah. I'm thinking getting some more and putting them in our back border as well.
I think it looked good. It looks really nice. I like them.
Me too. Yeah. I'm with you.
Okay.
We need to do some more research on the agaves and the yuccas and the aloes.
I agree. I think I'm kind of liking that. I probably was never, that in the past, but now I'm kind of leaning towards them.
In one way, our larkspur right now is blooming. It's in its prime. It is gorgeous right now. So I was kind of waiting a little bit to see if in June, that kind of dies back. I hope it's not too late to plant some of these things in June.
I would bet not. I know they like the hot weather. I bet they'll be fine.
They like the hot weather.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Red Yucca.
The Red Yucca, folks. Very good.
So there is a special time of our podcast that we have come to right now, Jeff.
Wait for it. Welcome to Jeff's Corner.
Jeff's Corner.
Mary, guess what we're talking today?
Oh, I think you're talking scarecrows and bumblebees.
So I did get a kick out of this because we don't share some of this stuff before we actually get on here. I just kind of come up with something. We're going to have a little tomato talk today.
Ooh, I'm shocked.
I mean, I know. I am too. I don't know whether to say. We're going to talk tomatoes.
Talking them tomatoes.
So we're going to have 10 juicy facts is what I've come up with about tomatoes that I'm sure you know, and I'm probably everybody knows. But I might surprise you on one.
Educate me.
So you do know tomatoes are fruits, right? But do you know that they were declared a vegetable by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1893?
No.
For tax reasons.
Oh,
Now, what is...
blown
I didn't
away.
know that either.
For tax reasons.
So I'm assuming that fruit must have been... Well, maybe vegetables were taxed different than fruits.
Oh.
Had to be. But anyway, so legally they're a vegetable. But
That is
botanically they're a fruit.
Interesting.
What do you think about that?
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And did you know that they are part of the what we like to call the nightshade gang?
Mm-hmm.
So they're in the same family as a potato, an eggplant, and even ready, tobacco.
Oh,
Yeah, that is
I'm
actually the
surprised.
nightshade family.
And tobacco. Okay.
And if you want to like sound fancy, that's really called the Solanaceae, is the nightshade family. I'll do our little clappy thing. They are native to South America, domesticated by the Aztecs before they made their way to European plates and sites. So that's kind of an interesting thing. So they're being domesticated by the Aztecs is kind of I guess you don't think about it, but pretty cool. I know you know this one, just because you know.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, isn't that interesting that they were actually domesticated by the Aztecs and before they went to Europe?
Yes.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Now, Mary, what are they packed with? What does a tomato have in it? It has lycopene.
Lycopene.
You knew that. So it's an antioxidant, and it's good for heart health.
Oh, okay. I love that.
And did you know lycopene gets even better when you cook tomatoes?
Like sauce?
Yeah, like a sauce. So
or
simmer it up.
Sunday
Simmer that
gravy?
sauce up. Get the Sunday gravy. Did you know that, though? That makes it even better.
Oh, that is very interesting. No, because I would have thought that the heat would
I know. You would
it.
think that it would be better fresh, but it is better if you cook it.
Okay.
Now, Mary, I know you may or may not know this one. Do you know how they pollinate, what they need to pollinate? They don't rely on wind. They need vibrations to pollinate.
Ooh.
It's called buzz pollination.
Buzz pollination,
so
okay.
Bumblebees are your tomato's best friend. Did you know that?
Because their wings? Or they...
It has to have it needs the vibration and not like wind blowing. It needs actual vibration to pollinate. Interesting.
Wow. Well, I had always heard that you should thump the tomato.
We'll see. That would vibrate
as you go down the not the tomato, but the vine.
The vine. So that you are causing those vibration. Look at that. And of course, we know it's a cocktail icon, right? We have the famous Bloody Mary.
Yes.
And so they are definitely used for that. A nice fresh one, actually, if you want a nice fresh Bloody Mary. And do they thrive in the heat, Mary? Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
It's goofy. So you want to plant them too early when the soil is cold, and they will sulk.
Oh,
wait until it's truly warm.
Sulky.
So if it's nice and warm. So I got some, and it's warm.
Yes.
So we're hoping that we get rewarded for that.
Well, we will. I'm counting on it.
I know. And of course, as we all know, and even I know, and I'm not the biggest tomato planter, but you have to have, some kind of stakes or cages or something.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they just get kind of crazy. But so you need a little structure. Put a little structure in your tomato when you're growing.
Love that.
And watch out for hornworms.
Oh, the tomato hornworm.
And blight and blossom end rot.
Mm-hmm.
So
I do know that blossom end rot is due to not having enough calcium uptake in the tomato.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So,
well, what then? There are some things you can plant nearby to help keep some of those things. We talked a little bit about this last time, but if you plant basil or marigolds nearby, you can help keep some of the bugs away.
You can attract your pollinators, the bumblebee,
mm-hmm.
and also ward off
those
bad-
hornworms.
the hornworms.
And these in tomatoes, you want to the more you pick, the more you produce. So you want to keep them going. You want to kind of harvest them. When they're ready to be harvested, harvest them. You get some more. So they just keep. That's the plant that keeps giving.
I love it.
The tomato, which I'm going to try. I bought 2 plants.
I can't wait to see you coming in with our harvest basket.
I'm going to put a couple
picture.
in. I'm going to put.
I'm going to love it.
And I did have a pepper plant. I'm determined to keep trying on these peppers.
Yes.
So last year I put them out there. They're hard for me to kind of gauge when. I'm used to like when you go to the store, you get a giant jalapeno pepper. Now these are supposed to be bigger jalapeno peppers too. So I get a little, early on the pulling. So I'm going to be patient.
Okay.
Keep an eye on them. So I'm gonna go tomatoes and peppers.
It sounds like we're going to have a fantastic planting day.
Did I fool you on anything with the tomato?
Totally fooled me.
Okay. That was my goal. Come up with a few things that maybe you or our listeners didn't know. And of course, you can always deep dive into why they were turned into a vegetable by the Supreme Court in 1893. What tax was out there? I don't know. I didn't research that part of it, but interesting.
I do want to look that up.
Yeah. Pretty interesting stuff. So that, Mary, is the tomato.
The tomato. Jeff's Corner
this week.
A gorgeous tomato.
Yeah.
Now, I do know that we're going to put in the tomato transplants that you got.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that coming up in June is time for me to start seeds indoors so I could get ready for our fall tomato planting.
Very good.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
The other thing we need to do, I'm going to go off subject here, but we got to figure out how to get some pumpkins out there so that they're ready for Halloween.
We have to plant them now. Pumpkins are very long season.
Well, let's work that. Put that in your on your list of things to do.
I did see at the Natural Gardener they had a lot of winter squash varieties. And we do have a Seminole pumpkin planted in the Three Sisters.
Okay.
We just have to get out there and check
give it a check. Pumpkins and watermelons are always cool because they just, I don't know, because you can see them grow.
A lot of your winter pumpkins take like 100, maybe even longer days to grow. So they have a very long growth season. But I think that we have like 280 some odd growing days here in our area. We ought to be able to fit it in there somewhere.
We do pumpkin. We got to throw a watermelon out there too if it's not too late for that.
Oh no, I love it.
Just to kind of see. Kind of got to watch them because they you get critters out there. But we'll see what we can do.
We get a nice critter.
All right, put that on your list. Surprise you with that. Look, Mary's putting it on the list. That's another trip to the garden center, Mary.
I love it.
I know you do. All right, that's what I had for Jeff's Corner this week, Mary. What else you got for us?
Thank you, Jeffrey.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Okay, well, I don't have the fancy music, but let's take another look at a different plant.
I'll work on some music for you.
We have a plant growing in one of our front garden beds that's very confusing. It's green. It's like a ground cover, sort of. It's getting a little bit tall, but we didn't remember planting it. And after the cocklebur fiasco, I've been trying to really look up all the plants and make sure I know what is growing. But anyways, this little plant is pretty common all over the United States. And I actually had a little bit of a hard time identifying it and also doing some research. But I think I have nailed it. And I have found out what it is. This is a true weed. It comes up and it has an annual cycle where it emerges and flowers and does everything in its growing cycle and then dies. But it comes back from seed. It seeds itself very prolifically. And it is called a Euphorbia davidii. It's also known as David's spurge or toothed spurge. And that's where I ran into trouble because every time I looked it up, every time I tried to research spurge, I kept getting pictures of a different plant that I do recognize, but it wasn't this plant. And this little plant is related to and closely resembles the poinsettias that we get every Christmas with the red leaves. And so another name for this plant is green poinsettia. There you go.
Interesting.
Anyways, I mean, it's a plant that I feel like is out of place where it is. It's not a plant that is, I can't find research that says it's really bad for you, except that if you're going to be pulling it up, it does have like a milky latex. So you do want to protect your hands and your skin. You don't want to get it on your skin. And it isn't allowed in Europe or on those continents because it's not native there and it's becoming invasive. And, it's quite unremarkable. I really didn't find a reference to where it was pollinator friendly or it had an aspect like that to it. So I think it's going to go.
Got to go.
It's got to go.
No, we're going to use the word eradicate. We will eradicate it.
Eradicate this one, Jeffrey.
Okay.
Yeah. We got to get Red Yucca in place.
There you go.
There you go.
That'd be a good thing.
That'll be terrific. And it grows in that. It is growing like a weed.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, I thought that it was interesting, and especially if you're here in the Texas Hill Country and you run across this little plant, looks very much like a poinsettia type look to it, right? But it is a Euphorbia davidii.
Okay, which is another word for weed. No.
There are many euphorbias that are beautiful and that we really do want to grow in our garden.
Okay.
This one, I think I might
got to get rid of it.
Give it a pass,
okay.
But I wanted to pass it along to everyone else in case they're wondering what it is.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. The spurge. We'll call it the spurge.
It is called the spurge.
Yeah. Proper name for it.
I know. And I was hoping it would help me battle the Bermuda.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But I am looking right now, and it can get up to 2 feet tall.
Oh,
that is too tall.
That's too tall.
Yeah.
It's a tall weed.
That's a tall weed.
Okay. Very good.
Yes.
So what else do you have for us, Mary? Have anything else?
I just have what we're looking forward to doing next.
Oh,
yes. I did want to talk to any Central Texas gardeners. While we were at the Natural Gardener, we ran across a book. It's a spiral bound book called The Garden Guide for Austin and Vicinity. And it is published by the Travis County Master Gardeners Association. It has a discussion of our area in the front. It discusses Travis County and the different soils that you're going to find. I was happy to confirm with myself that we're in the Edwards Plateau. But part of Travis County has Blackland Prairie, and a small portion of Travis County actually has a post oak savanna.
Wow.
Interesting. So it's a very informative book. And it also goes month by month and gives you things that you could do, and also has a place for you to write what you want to do. It has a very good listing of plants that are great for our area. And it also includes charts about when you're supposed to plant things like those watermelon.
There you go.
I know, right? It's going to work out to
cool.
be great.
That's neat. Yeah, that is pretty neat.
And these charts are put out by the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. Well, that's the Master Gardener program is related to A&M. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, I hope that people will be on the lookout for it because I really did like it.
Very good.
You can never have too much information.
Never. You can't have too much information or plants, Mary.
You can never have too many plants.
Never. And I agree.
This is a great time for plants.
All right. Well.
So coming up this week, it is a very good time for people to move or divide succulents that you have in your garden, and that would include the red yucca.
The red yucca.
Create some more depth into your garden by propagating more of your plantings. And it was interesting. I was listening to the Texas gardener, and his name has escaped me at this very moment, and a piece of advice that he gave was, if there is something doing well in your garden, plant more of it.
Oh, okay.
And that's very true.
That is a good idea, yeah.
There are plants in our garden that are taking off and just performing like all-stars. And so I'm going to start looking for more of those and have a bigger grouping of them. It is time, if you have fall blooming plants like chrysanthemums or asters, it's a very good time for you to give them a trim. And on your chrysanthemums, your garden chrysanthemums, you want to pinch those buds off of them so you could get the plant to put its energy into more growth and give you a bigger bloom in the fall. So one of the things that is really important to do right now is to feed your bougainvillea. And we have a beautiful one that is doing quite well this year. So you want to get a higher nitrogen. I like an organic feed for it. The site that I was on recommended citrus tone as a food source for them. But they do need to be fed regularly because they really do use a lot of energy in their blooming period. They bloom all summer. Let's see. It's really important to keep up with your weeding activities. Yes. And also prune the roses, the spring blooming roses that have, now last season, we talked about the advice was not to prune. And I decided that I like the older advice. So I'm recommended that you follow the advice of prune and deadhead the roses as you're going into the heat. I think there is controversy about that. But anyways, right now, like we talked about, is a good time to plant your eggplant. That's in the nightshade family.
Okay, the nightshades. I like it.
It's a good time to get in your sweet potatoes and your long beans. Long beans love the heat. If you want to plant flowers, it's a really good time to start celosia and your salvias. And there's also a plant called a purslane. Purslane and ice plant and also portulaca. Sometimes they all look very similar. And all three of those, it's a great time to plant them right now. And the only other thing that we were going to discuss is how are we going to use all the Swiss chard?
We have a lot of Swiss chard out there.
That's growing in our garden.
Gigantic leaves of Swiss chard.
The leaves are like a foot wide.
They are huge.
They're huge, right? And, we haven't been out since it rained, so they were not leathery before the rain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping they won't be leathery right now. How are we going to use some of those? My goodness.
I think we got to use them and roll. Let's do some. You got to use the leaf to like roll something in there.
Do. Sort of like a tortilla, right?
Yeah, you should be able to, right? I mean,
I think so.
put some rice and some beans and
I think we should do that. Chop up some jalapenos. Oh, a little, like we could saute onions.
Yeah, I think you could.
Yeah.
I think you could use those as a, instead of a tortilla, you could use those in place of a tortilla.
I think so.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I think it'd be delicious.
It's going to be one huge tortilla.
A huge tortilla.
But it would be fun. We have a lot of them out there. So we can harvest those and kind of take a look. We're going to have to
do them over several days.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah.
I wonder if they would go good in one of your tomato sauce that you talked about earlier today.
I don't know, maybe.
Oh, we might have to see if there's something we could do.
There's a lot you can do with them. I mean, there's a lot of recipes for Swiss chard. But a lot of them you can make a lot of different things. You can stuff them.
I was thinking maybe there's a dipping sauce we could make out of the tomatoes that you were talking about, and then stuff the rice and everything and make a dipping sauce.
That'd be cool.
With the Swiss chard rolls.
Let's give some stuff a try. We have a lot out there.
We do. And we could tie it with the green onion stems that are growing. We could tie the Swiss chard rolls together and make them look pretty.
I'm game.
So if you have Swiss chard in your garden and you're getting ready for Mother's Day, try to find a recipe that Mom would love.
There you go. There you go. That would be fun. Yeah, we'll come up with something.
I wonder if you could use them in a quiche.
I don't know.
You use spinach.
I bet you can use anything. You use them in anything. Swiss chard, they're like flexible.
They're so nutritious. They are flexible.
All right.
Thank you, Jeff. It's been a great podcast.
Hey, it's been fun. And as always, we appreciate you guys joining us here at Mary Bird's Backyard Garden. And we'll be here again next week. Same time, same place.
Happy gardening.
Happy gardening and happy Mother's Day to everyone this coming Sunday. And we'll see you guys next week.